Face off with Firefly Publishing for another drop into the fascinating world of pro hockey history with Hockey Hall of Fame True Stories 2. Following his bestseller, hockey historian and writer Eric Zwig opens the doors to the Pro Hockey Hall of Fame, revealing a treasure of untold tales, bizarre incidents, and captivating trivia that will leave the most devoted puckhead astounded. Just to name drop a few of the players he's included in this book are Wayne Gretzky, Jaromir Jagr, and Bobby Hull. Hockey Hall of Fame True Stories 2 is a must-read for pro hockey fans who crave more than just scores and statistics. Mr. Zwig invites you to uncover the true stories that have shaped the sport, ensuring that you will never look at the game of hockey the same way again. So skate on over to Amazon.com, Target, and Walmart to get your copy now. Hello, this is Ross Bliley from the podcast Pigskin Tales. This podcast is sponsored by Sterling Soap Company. With products sold throughout 41 locations around the globe, Sterling Soap Company has a unique assortment of products to choose from for your loved one for the holidays. Handmade artisan soaps created by Roderick and Amanda Lovin since 2012, these products are affordable and provide great value. Act now and save on your shipping costs. If you purchase $75 or more, your shipping cost is free in the United States. Shop now online at sterlingsoap.com.
What up, everybody? Oh my goodness. It's been a while. It's been a long while. It's been too long of a while. But here we are. Another episode of one guy with a mic. Dingers and dunks. A lot less dunks this episode. And a lot more dingers. Because we did not do a mid-season podcast at the All-Star break like I really wanted to. You know, life happens. Things happen. Things get crazy. It's been a crazy 24. That's all I'm saying. We're going to do an end-of-the-year show, I believe. So we'll do that. We'll get that out by the end of the year, obviously. We're going to talk about those who passed, who came, who gone, who we are excited to see for 2025. But this episode right here, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages that tune into this very podcast to get all their baseball information, especially Brody from Sioux Falls. We looking at you, kid. So, appreciate y'all listening. Thanks for, tuning in even to the old episodes. I really, really appreciate it. So, how did the season go? Well, I feel like we got some of our prospects right. Some of the guesses good. I will have to admit, I made a horrible trade in fantasy baseball. Bobby Witt Jr. was on my team, and I traded him away and for a bunch of nobodies because I needed pitching. And then I ended up getting last place. So I also traded away Manny Machado, Bryce Harper. Yeah, but hey, you know what? We got the Martian. We got Anthony Volpe because Volpe's awesome. Just saying. We got, fantasy baseball is going to be there next year. We're going to be right there in the thick of things next year, I feel. So let's get on into the stats for 2024. Obviously, we're just going to talk 2024 baseball. That's it. We're going to start with the season, how we all broke it down. I think we had my teams. I had all four teams I had four teams from the AL East making the playoffs this year, and that did not happen. So there's that. Screw you, Tampa Bay and Boston, or Toronto, I guess. Way to let me down. So you had Baltimore and the Yankees. The Yankees, right? You had Cleveland, Kansas City, and, let's be real. The AL Central podcast that we did, me and my boy, BM Doc, Mr. Brian himself, the fact that him and I hit so well on the Kansas City Royals y'all just should be listening. We should just give you more insights together. Him and I, we nailed the AL Central. I mean, not so much the Twinkies. Maybe, you know what? I think we had the Twinkies and the Tigers switched around a little bit, but we definitely nailed the White Sox, but that was an easy one, right? I feel like him and I nailed the AL Central really well. Then you had me and Mr. Andy Random Hero out there with the West Coast. And I don't know why we go against the Astros every single year, but they won the West again. Seattle did blew it themselves. Okay, they didn't quite reach that all-important number that DePito's looking at, which I think is like 56% is what he wants to win a year. They only won 52.5%, with the Houston's Astros taking the West by 3.5. Then we got in the National League, we had the East, the NL East. That was me, and we had Mr. Mike Fallen Angel on the podcast, along with Jason Pig Boss Man Armstrong. He was on the old podcast as well. I feel like we nailed the top three here. Obviously, it was pretty even. Them being Braves fans, they did have the Braves number one. I don't believe I did. I think I got the Phillies at 1, and then I felt like the Mets are going to be there, and lo and behold, that's the way it was. Phillies 1, Braves, Mets 2 and 3, with the Braves and Mets tied at 89 and 73. Then we had the NL Central. That podcast was a lot of fun. That was me and Gersty and Black Widow and Texas Longhorn was the other guy in that. So we had 2 Cardinals fans, a Reds fan, and myself, right? Well, I said the Cubs could win anywhere from 76 to 92 games, and they won 83. So I'll take that as a win, okay? The Cardinals did way better than I thought. And the Brewers, who thought the Brewers were going to run away with the series after giving away Corbin Burns? They ran away with the Central by 10 games. Pretty sure they had a higher lead at some point than that. Obviously, the Reds didn't reciprocate their potential this year. And the Pittsburgh Pirates are the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, there's that. Out west, in the AL West, we had the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Diamondbacks, right? I felt the Diamondbacks were going to win the division, and they did not. I believe the West was also Mike Fallen Angel and Jason Pig Boss Man Armstrong was along for the ride for that one as well, because I couldn't find anybody out west that wanted to do a podcast with me, so imagine that. And then out west, so we had to do, so we did that. I do believe, my man and my ladies and gents, I got that wrong. The Dodgers won the West, obviously, and then we know what they did in the World Series. But we're not there yet to the World Series yet, so that's just a bit of the rundown of how the podcast at the preseason. Now, I know we said we're going to get in the 24 stats, so here we go. Your batting average winner for all of baseball was Bobby Witt Jr. with a 332. All right. Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani had 58 and 54 home runs apiece. Then you had Aaron Judge with 144 RBIs. Now, how close was Aaron Judge to winning the Triple Crown, you ask? I know you didn't ask, but you were like, maybe Chad knows this. Who knows, right? Mr. One Guy's all with the stats for the facts, baby. Aaron Judge hit was 322 was his batting average. He lost it by 10 hundredths of a point, as I think for all you math majors, that's how you do it, right? 0.1010? Yeah. What is that, like 3 hits maybe? Yeah. And don't remember I think he was hurt this year, was he not? I don't know if he was hurt or not. But, so, then you had the hits leader was Bobby Witt Jr. with 211. All the talk about Shohei Ohtani being the 50-50 guy, I understand. That's history in the making. But Ellie De La Cruz stole 67 bags as well. So, what else we got going on here? So there's your leaders Now, obviously, on the NL side of things, right? National League, because we're, Luis Arraez and Shohei Ohtani finished 1-2 in the batting average, a 3.14 and a 3.10. Shohei obviously hit 54 home runs, and Shohei hit a 130 RBIs. So, Shohei was .004 away from having uh, the Triple Crown as well. So we could have seen 2 Triple Crown winners this year if they would have just got a couple more hits. That's all there is about to it. So, what about pitching leaders? Well, all Major League Baseball, let's break that down real quick, okay? Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers and Chris Sale both won 18 games to tie for the Major League. Then you had Chris Sale and Tariq Skubal each have an ERA of 2.38 for Chris Sale and a 2.39 for Tariq Skubal. Right. Your saves leaders were Ryan Helsley and Emmanuel Clase. Too bad Clase couldn't hold a lead in the playoffs. Your strikeout leaders were Skubal and Sale again. Zach Wheeler was third, and Dylan Cease as well was right there. Oh, and Cole Reagans. These strikeout leaders were within 5 of each other. Cole Reagans had 223. Dylan Cease had 224. Zach Wheeler had 224. Chris Sale had 225, and then Tariq Skubal had 228 to lead up. Quality starts went to Zach Wheeler at 26, and then Seth Lugo had 22. So, do we need to break down? I feel like that was a pretty even mix of pitching leaders. Nothing really changes a whole lot if you look at the other than the American League winner or leader of quality starts. Yeah, it was Seth Lugo. I mentioned that, by the way. Corbin Burns had 22, and Logan Gilbert had 22. Oh, and Tariq Skubal had 22 as well. So he had 22 quality starts and 18 wins. That is amazing. His overall record for this year was 18-4 with a 2.39 average, 2.39 ERA, and a .92 WHIP. That is walks, hits per inning pitched. So, overall, it was a fairly competitive year. So, there we have with that. Now, let's go to your playoffs, right? That's what we're here for, right? Is the playoffs, the free agency predictions. Okay, I get you. I got you, boys and girls. We getting it. So, let's go to the playoffs for a second. I don't want the playoffs. We're talking about playoffs, man. All right. So, what did we look like in the playoffs? Well, we had the Tigers and Astros, the Royals and Orioles, the Mets, Brewers, and the Braves and the Padres. Right? I feel like we had some good playoff baseball altogether. I think that was part of the stuff as well, is how great the actual baseball was this postseason. So let's start with the Detroit-Houston series. Detroit won 2-0. KC and Orioles. The Orioles still have not won a playoff game since, when was the last time? Anybody want to take a guess? We're taking guesses. The last time the Baltimore Orioles won a playoff game, I'm pretty sure it had to be 1996 against the New York Yankees. As I feel like, well, okay, let's take that back. Let's hold that off, okay? Let's start with the last time they actually won a postseason game was in 2014, 10 years ago. Okay, the last time they had a playoff series win, happened to be, oh man, I can't believe that, 10 years ago. Oh, also 10 years ago when they beat the Detroit Tigers. Huh? Orioles fans, you all got a problem, don't you? You guys just make the playoffs and then screw it up after that, I guess. So, what are you going to do? So then over on the NL side, you had the Mets, the Brewers, and the Braves and the Padres. Padres won the first 2 games and won that 2-0. Then you had the Mets and Brewers go 3 games, and the Mets won 2-1. All right. Then in the NLDS, I feel like the Phillies were outmatched just because the Mets were hot. Does that make sense? Probably not. In my mind, it does. So, so you got the Mets beating the Phillies 3-1, and then you had the Dodgers over the Padres 3-2, which, by the way, the Dodgers have a bullpen game against the Padres, and they still won the series. So I didn't think their bullpen was that great, but I guess it was decent. Over on the American League side in the ALDS, you had Detroit and Cleveland, and you had Kansas City and New York. Detroit and Cleveland went 5 games. Cleveland won at 3-2, and then you had the Yankees over Kansas City 3-1. Then you go to the ALCS, and obviously you had the Yankees beating the Guardians 4-1, and then you had the Dodgers over the Mets 4-2, which I really thought the Dodgers could have pulled that off if they really, or not the Dodgers. I feel like the Mets could have beat the Dodgers. Just saying. That's really. I really feel like the Dodgers got lucky a lot this postseason. And I understand their highest payroll. I understand this. I understand, but I feel like if there wasn't any luck behind it, right? I don't, because you got to have luck, right? You got to have luck in order to win something at times, obviously. Um, and I feel like I just figure like there was some luck to it and some not so much luck. Some, if if that makes any sense, probably not. Again, that's in my mind it makes sense, but um, but I guess in my mind that's how that works out, and sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But that's what I got going on in my brain of brains. Um, so then you go to the World Series and you have. So then you go to the World Series and you have the Dodgers Yankees. Obviously, the Dodgers won it in 4 games to 1 in Yankee Stadium, but I don't think that really tells the tale of what it was of what happened, because um, I do think that the Yankees kind of gave some games away, right? So let's give a little quick breakdown of Game 1. All right. So Game 1, we are up. The Yankees are up. Okay, and then all of a sudden they lost 7-6. Like there's not much of a synopsis there. Then you had a 6-3. Oh, sorry, my bad. That was Game 5. So um, game. So Game 1. That was the Freddie Freeman Grand Slam game, if I remember correctly. I really did no research before I started this podcast. I just really wanted to get on here and talk. As you all know, I like to talk most days. So, Freddie Freeman comes up, hits a grand slam in the 10th inning to win it 6-3 off Jake Cousins. Okay, and then in Game 2, you had the Dodgers winning 4-2. They were leading the game most of the way, so that was a good win, right? Then you had Game 3, another 4-2 victory, and the Yankees didn't score any runs till the 9th inning. Then you have Game 4, which is 11-4 win, and then Game 5, which should have forced a Game 6, but the Yankees just couldn't do it, obviously, because they gave up 2 runs in the 8th. Luke Weaver finally became human, right? Tommy Canley actually became human as well. Like, so. But if you really, so you got the World Series MVP was Freddie Freeman, your NLCS MVP was Tommy Edman, and your ALCS MVP was Giancarlo Stanton. Because all that guy does is hit bombs, baby. So let's look at batting wise. So the Dodgers batted 206 throughout the series, and they had a 296 on base percentage with a 406 slugging. Okay. Meanwhile, you look at the Yankees, and they had a 212, a 332, and a 412 for their splits. 212 batting average, a 332 slugging percentage, and a 412. And you know slugging percentage is like any extra base hits, right? So they had a 412. And so it felt like they outslugged them. But the problem with the Yankees was their runners in scoring position, right? So what was I don't really have I can't find a breakdown of that. I couldn't find a breakdown of that of the runners in scoring position, and how they didn't get runs across, but we all saw with our own eyes, right? They didn't get runs across the board, okay? I mean, Garrett Cole had a .71 ERA, but then you have Nestor Cortez with a 9. Jay Cousins, 11.57. You have Luis Gil with a 9. You have Tommy Canley with a 10.80. You got Carlos Rodon with a 10.80. You got Clark Schmidt. I mean, their pitching staff just didn't show up. All right? That's the key difference here. Is their pitching staff didn't show up. But congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers for winning the World Series. I had the Yankees in the World Series, and I had the Yankees winning it. Obviously, that didn't happen. So I also had the Phillies in the World Series again. I like the Phillies. I think they're going to be good next year as well. So let's talk about awards. Okay, let's get some MLB awards for this year since that's all out now. The surprise, well, I'm not really surprised. I'm not really surprised by it, but Chris Sale winning the MVP award, I felt like he was due because and I think we said it in the Braves not the Braves podcast, but in the NL East podcast. In the NL East podcast, that if Chris Sale could stay healthy, he would be really good for that Braves rotation, which he had to step up and be really good for that Braves rotation, which he did. And then on the American League side, you had Tariq Skubal winning the AL Cy Young Award. Obviously, your MVPs were Judge and Ohtani because of their remarkable seasons. The Rookie of the Year awards went to Luis Gil Hill, I guess not Gill, but Heel of the Yankees, and Paul Skeens. I'll probably pronounce that name wrong too, because you know how I suck at names. Him winning the NL Rookie of the Year, obviously, with that guy's 11-3 record with a 1.96 ERA, and he had 170 strikeouts less than a year after being first overall. You had Stephen Vogt being the Manager of the Year for the AL, and you had Pat Murphy being the Manager of the Year in the NL. All right, now let's talk about the good awards. So you had the Hank Aaron Award winners, which recognizes the best offensive performer in the American National League, and that went to Shohei and Aaron Judge. Then you got the Roberto Clemente Award, which is the recognition of extraordinary efforts to build healthy and active communities. Philanthropy, character, community involvement, positive contributions both on and off the field, and that went to Salvador Perez of the Kansas City Royals. Very fitting. Your Silver Slugger Awards went to Perez in the American League. You had Perez at catcher, Vlad Guerrero at first, Jose Altuve at second, Jose Ramirez at third, Bobby Witt Jr. at short. Outfield was Judge, Soto, and Santander. Brent Roker was the DH with the Silver Slugger Award winner, and your utility player was Josh Smith of the Rangers. On the National League side, you had William Contreras Sorry, let me clear my throat. Bryce Harper at first, Ketel Marte at second, Manny Machado at third, Francisco Lindor at shortstop, Jackson Merrill, the rookie Jackson Merrill with the Padres, Teoscar Hernandez, your Major League Baseball home run derby champion, and Jurickson Profar of the Padres. DH Shohei, and a utility player was Mookie Betts. The team winners for your Silver Slugger awards was the Yankees and the Dodgers. Now, look at the Gold Glove winners. You have Cal Riley in the American League. You have Cal Riley of the Mariners. First base was Carlos Santana of the Twinkies. Second base was Andres Jimenez of the Guardians. Third base was Alex Bregman. Shortstop was Bobby Witt Jr. I guess that's a growing trend, right? Left field was Stephen Kwan of the Guardians. Dalton Varsho of the Blue Jays. Wilyer Abreu of the Red Sox out and right. And then Seth Lugo won the Gold Glove for pitching, and Dylan Moore won the utility plates. And the Platinum Glove Award winner went to Cal Riley. Not Cal Naughton Jr. from Talladega Nights, but Cal Riley. I wonder how often he gets asked that. Or gets, not asked that, but how many people call him Cal Naughton Jr.? The Magic Man. Anyways, Gold Glove Award winners from the National League was Patrick Bailey of the Giants, Christian Walker at first base for the D-backs. Second base was Bryce Turang of the Brewers. Shortstop was Ezekiel Tovar of the Rockies. Third base was Matt Chapman of the Giants. Left field went to Ian Happ of the Chicago Cubs. Center field was Brenton Doyle of the Rockies. Right field was Sal Frelick of the Brewers. Pitcher was Chris Sale. Utility was Jared Triolo of the Pirates. And your Platinum Glove winner was Turang of the Brewers. Now, the team Gold Glove Award winners were the Brewers and the Blue Jays. So, outstanding DH obviously went to Shohei Ohtani because why not? He won the award for the fourth consecutive season. Then you had your NL Comeback Player of the Year went to Chris Sale and Garrett Crochet, and then your Relievers of the Year was Emmanuel Clase and Ryan Helsley of the Cardinals. Executive of the Year went to Matt Arnold of the Milwaukee Brewers, obviously because why not? Now, Players' Choices Award. The players awarded Aaron Judge with the Player of the Year honors, and in addition to me named Outstanding American League Player, and then Shohei Ohtani earned the top NL honors. The Heart and Hustle Award went to, who guessed it, Bobby Witt Jr. And then All-Star Game MVP was Jarren Duran as well. So that's a little breakdown of the year awards, and that's how the awards shaped out. We got one last section. We got all Major League Baseball team. First team was Contreras of Milwaukee, Vladimir Guerrero at first base for Toronto, Ketel Marte of Arizona, Now, hold on. Let me reminisce this real quick. So the All MLB team is obviously like the best players at each position for that. The best player at each position, and then we get 5 starters and 2 relievers out of this deal as well. We have a first team and a second team. So obviously the first team is Contreras from Milwaukee, Guerrero Jr. from Toronto, Ketel Marte, second base from Arizona, shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. from Kansas City, Jose Ramirez from Cleveland, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Mookie Betts made up the outfield. Your DH was Shohei Ohtani. Now, at starting pitching, you had Chris Sale, Tariq Skubal, Paul Skinis, Zach Wheeler, Corbin Burns. Your relief pitchers was Clase and Helsley. All right. Now your second team was Salvador Perez from KC. First base was Bryce Harper from Philly. Second base was Jose Altuve from Houston Astros. Shortstop was Francisco Lindor. Third base was Manny Machado. Outfield was Jurickson Merrill, Jarren Duran. probably killing that name. Teoscar Hernandez, and then Yordan Alvarez was your DH. Your second team pitching was Seth Lugo, Dylan Cease, Shota Amanga from the Chicago Cubs, Framber Valdez, Michael King, and then relief pitchers were Mason Miller and Kirby Yates. And that's wraps up that. So, who had no hitters this year? There were 4 no hitters this year. Okay. The first, we had the first one. Whoops. The first one is from Ronel Blanco. He was the first. He was the first one of the year. Then you had the combined no hitter on September 4th of Amanga, Pearson, and Porter Hodge of the Chicago Cubs against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And you had Blake Snell against the Cincinnati Reds. And there was one more. Hold on. I gotta find this. The internet's not doing me justice on this, by the way. It really irritates me. Dylan Cease. He was the other one that had the other no-hitter of 2024. Who could forget Dylan Cease's performance against the San Diego Padres? Huh. I guess we should have not forgot about that. So there was your 4 no-hitters on the year. Okay. Now, let's go. We're gonna do a little hot stove report. Let's look at all the free agent tracker. All right. So far, we got Blake Snell. All right. He signed with the Dodgers, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, the Dodgers are getting richer now." Blah blah blah. Bloobity blah 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 blah. I feel like who cares? It is what it is at this point. Our top free agents on the year are obviously the top free agents is Juan Soto and Blake Snell, with one of them with Blake Snell already off and going to the Dodgers. Dodgers get richer. I don't care. They still have holes to fill because Max Muncy didn't show up during the playoffs, so they still need a bat, obviously. So there's that. And the Gavin Lux isn't your answer. So you got Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Corbin Burns. Garrett Cole did opt out. That's right. And then you got Pete Alonso. So we got UC Kikuchi signed with the Angels for 3 years and $63 million. Travis Denard signed with the Angels for 2 years and $12 million. Austin Hedges stayed with the Guardians. Kyle Farmer went from Minnesota to Colorado on a 1-year deal for $3.25 million. Kevin Newman went with Arizona to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Kyle Hendricks went from the Cubs to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Jake Stallings re-signed with the Rockies. Justin Wilson went from Cincinnati to Boston. TJ McFarland re-signed with the Athletics. And they're not in Oakland this year, boys and girls. They're in Sacramento while their stadium gets built in Vegas, which I can't wait for that. Oh my gosh. If you haven't seen the renderings of that stadium, go look it up because they're quite amazing, let me tell you. All right, then we got Austin Slater went from Baltimore to the White Sox, and Dylan Covey went from Philly to the Mets. So who's available still? Well, Max Scherzer at the ripe age of 40 years old is still available. Justin Verlander at 42 years old is still available. Juan Soto's 26. Paul Goldschmidt is almost 38. Teoscar Hernandez is 32. Patrick Corbin, which Corbin is horrible. Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, Charlie Morton's 41 years old. Anthony Rizzo's a free agent. Michael Conforto, Nathan Eovaldi, Josh Bell, Kenley Jansen, Frankie Montes, Corbin Burns, Max Farid, Ryan Presley, Gleyber, I said Gilbert. I meant Gleyber Torres, Yohan Moncada, the third baseman for the White Sox that was supposed to be really good, and then he's kind of flaked out since he's been in the big leagues. Jack Flaherty, he's a free agent, so I guess that signals to Flaherty that the Dodgers aren't going to re-sign him, so maybe he go re-signs with the Mets. Who knows? Let's see, Sean Manaea, Mark Canahan, Shane Bieber. I mean, there's some good pitching stat. Oh, jeez, man, there are some good pitchers on this thing. There's some good free agent pitching. So let's just look at the top free agent pitching, okay? We got, I'm not even going to count Scherzer and Verlander. Let's look. We got Eovaldi, okay? You can probably still get another, he's 34, will be 35 years old in the season. Probably get a few more years out of him. So sign him to a 3-year deal to get him through year 38, and I think he'll be good. Corbin Burns, 30 years old. You can sign him to an 8-year deal. Max Fried, 30 years old. He has a injury history, but I mean, sign him for a couple-year deal and get a player option in there. Jack Flaherty, obviously, he pitched lights out in Game 1. That's not the Jack Flaherty we all know and love. Shane Bieber, 30 years old with the Guardians, could re-sign for some big money there too. Who else you got? Who's another young pitcher? Walker Buehler is currently an unrestricted free agent coming off his Tommy John surgery. So there's that. Nick Pivetta, 32 years old. Martin Perez can give you some innings out of the bullpen. He's a free agent. Michael Lorenzo can give you some free innings out of the bullpen there too. Michael Soroka, again injury prone, but I feel like he could probably give you some stuff. Spencer Turnbull, I feel like some of these guys on this list, you can go out there and they'll give you innings pitched. Meanwhile, in case y'all didn't know, Rich Hill's still a free agent after playing with Boston Red Sox this year. So at 45 years old, he could get signed with somebody. Just think of that. I'm 42, and I probably couldn't get signed with anybody because I got a 47 mile an hour fastball, and I throw BP changeups. So there's that. Or is that BP fastballs at 47? Who knows? Relief pitchers, why we got Stanek, Yarborough, Will Smith. The Royals should have been in the World Series, but hey, there was still a Will Smith in the World Series. It just happened to be the catcher, not the pitcher. Yeah, so there's a lot of good pitching stuff, right? We're looking good pitching wise. Outfield wise, you got Gavin Sheets, he's decent. You got Teoscar Hernandez, Michael Conforte, Alex Verdugo, Eloy Jimenez. I didn't realize he was with the Orioles, but okay. You got Jesse Winker. Profar's a free agent, and he just got paid $1 million is all. So Brian Delacruz is a free agent. The Rockies just need to re-sign Charlie Blackmon so he can retire there. You got Jock Peterson. You got, they're probably going to be more your DH guys, obviously. Let's see. Matt Carpenter, he's a free agent at 39 years old. Center field, you got Bader, Carlson, Pilar, Aaron Hicks. Hicks wasn't even on a team last year, so there's that. I feel like you can really fill some holes in, with just some of this stuff, right? So obviously second base for the Yankees. Meanwhile, they got Gleyber Torres. Do you re-sign Gleyber? Because is he really worth the money? That's going to be the question. Do you really re-sign him, or do you go out and get somebody? There's talk of Bregman moving to second base, or do you let one of the young cats come up? So I feel like, as usual, your big target's going to come off the board. That's going to have then everybody else re-sign. So big target is obviously Soto out in the outfield. Snell's already off, so we don't have to worry about that. But you still got Corbin Burns. I really hope that this offseason doesn't turn into last 2 or 3 offseasons where the big name players aren't getting signed until the almost spring training, which I think with Snell coming off the board all the way, he wasn't waiting around to get his money. So I feel like there's that. Willie Adames can play shortstop as well. So again, there's a lot of good. Go ahead and go on to sportstrack.com. Free agents for year 2025. Obviously, we have no affiliation with that because I'm just shooting you where I got all this information at. And go on there and look at who all the free agents are. So, I'm going to wrap this bad boy up. I'm glad to be back behind the mic. I kind of missed it. It's been, like I said, 8 months since we did one. So we're going to do an end of year one. I might be on another podcast just doing like the moratoriums or I don't know if it's moratoriums or the memorial one like I did last year. I don't know. Basketball season wise, I don't know if we're really going to talk a whole lot about basketball this year. I feel like here's my big vision at this point. Okay. I want to do like some coaching videos. Get in front of a whiteboard and do some coaching videos for basketball wise. And I really just want to talk baseball history. So I've been in a little thought process going on in the back of the scenes with my mind. Is I have been trying to figure out a different name for the podcast since I'm not really going to focus on dingers or dunks as much as dingers. So really need to get that figured out. And I figure once I get that all squared away, then we will be able to do more stuff like that as well. So in the meantime, we're going to focus on baseball. Next February will be our 3rd year doing this podcast, and it's been great and it's been fun. So we're obviously going to do that. And if you hear my dogs barking in the background, that is them because they went outside and they're telling me to wrap this stuff up. So I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for listening. Wow, we really went longer than usual and longer than I had planned on this podcast. So if you stuck around this long, thank you. If you didn't stick around this long, I guess you don't get a thanks. You get you get whatever you want to think you get. Okay, so gotta keep it kid appropriate because kids listen to this podcast, which is quite amazing to me that I actually have fans out there. So again, thank you to everybody that has stuck with me, even with these last 8 months of not putting on a podcast. So I will see you all next month, and we will touch base at the beginning of the year next year as well. All right. As always, be kind to each other.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, a.k.a. the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history. But as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.